We're rolling.
All right, so welcome. It's Sew Together Tuesday. We're gonna chill out for a few minutes, wait for people to show up. If this is your first time here, we're really excited to have you. If you've been with us all week and weeks before that, we're really happy that you're back again. Thanks so much for joining us. We've been doing these Sew Together Tuesdays every Tuesday now for the last about 2 months now, 8 weeks or so. We did them previously, and I've been on the road a lot, so we hadn't been able to do them again, but I've been at home in my studio. I'm here with my partner Hawk, and he is doing the filming for us. So we are doing the Indygo Junction Slumber Party PJs this week. That's what we've been doing. So we got the shirt all made. So this is the patterns from Indygo Junction. They're our one of our vendor partners. We work with them a lot. Okay, so this is the pattern. We'll let you see that real good. Okay, super cute little pattern. And today, or this week, we've been making it in our Embrace Double Gauze. So most people know Shannon Fabrics for their cuddle fabric, but this week we are working with our Embrace Double Gauze fabric, which is a different kind of substrate and works really, really well for apparel. I really like it. It's just different. It's 100% cotton, so it's very different from our cuddle fabric, but it's great. So this is the shirt we've made. So over the last 2 days, we've been working on this. We did the yoke and the facing, and then we did the body part. We did all the hemming. Cute, cute little top. I'm just gonna hold it up for you. Cute, ta-da. Okay, adorable little top. And today we're gonna make the shorts for it, okay? So thank you again for joining us. If you're just showing up, thanks for coming. We're working on the shorts today for the Slumber Party PJs. So make sure that you leave your city and state. And if you have any sewing friends who've been wanting to sew apparel or who would be interested in this, please feel free to share it with them or to tag them in a post, just so that you can let them know that it's here and that, you'd like them to join us. Okay, so I'm gonna put this aside and we are gonna work on the shorts. So in the pattern, she tells you to, and she is Amy, who's the designer, and she has you serge the entire edge of each pattern piece and then put them together, which works really well. You can do the same thing with yours. You can either serge it or you could zigzag those edges. You could also fray check them and that works too. Fray check, we had it, here it is. Fray check is this little stuff. Okay, so you might be familiar with this. It works really well on edges that are gonna fray a lot, and so you can use this as well. Okay, but today, so what we've been doing before was I would sew and I would serge and I would sew and I would serge, and that's sort of how I usually do it when I'm sewing. But today we're gonna do it with the shorts where I've already serged all of the edges like she suggests that you do. This creates it so that you don't have to serge them all at the end, which is kind of nice. Like you don't have to keep going back and forth. So it's just a different way of doing it. One isn't necessarily better than the other. I just encourage you to try out both ways and see what you like best. Okay, so I've got the shorts cut out. If you've ever sewn pajama pants before, you know that they're huge. Okay, this happens in every class that I teach, that they're like, that's my size? Yes, it is. So don't freak out, okay? Like these are a small. This is, you know, the backside of a small. They get very large, okay? So when you're making your PJs, please don't panic as you're making them. They're like, these seem really big. One, you want them to be loose fitting, okay? For reasons of comfort and also because of the kind of fabric it is. So don't worry about those sizes, all right? Don't worry about how big it is, just worry about how comfortable it is. All right, so I've got my back cut out and serged around the edges. I do use black because I really have black, white, and gray serger thread. So I use black so it wouldn't show quite so much. And then I have my front. That is all you need, along with, I get that to open up for you. Okay, so along with the elastic. And so this one, I have to give a special shout out to Sewing Arts in Santa Monica, because she's the one who sent this to me. I didn't realize I had used the last in my stash, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to do a tutorial. And so she sent it to me, which was great, and I appreciate it. She sells our gauze as well as a bunch of other apparel fabrics and a bunch of patterns. She has other Indygo Junction patterns, and she's got the elastic. So, and lots of stores sell our double gauze. So I know Ellen will post in the comments, she's been doing that every day, about which stores carry our gauze. So make sure and check out your local store and see if they have it, and if not, there's lots of them that do. Okay, all right, so I've got my pieces, I've got my elastic. I redid a bobbin in the navy, and I got my navy up top. So this is gonna be a super easy project. We're gonna spend most of the time over on this side of the table. We're gonna sew it up. Really easy. We're basically gonna do you do the seams and then hems, and then we're done. Okay, so I'm gonna have Hawk come on over here so he can see us sew. And I'm gonna start putting these together. So the thing that you want to make sure of is that you keep your pieces separate and that you are sewing a front to a back and a front to a back. All right, because this is really important that you can get that messed up. Okay, so something to keep in mind, move some of this stuff so we can see, is that you'll notice that the back crotch seam is much larger, okay, than the front crotch seam. So that's an easy way to tell the difference between them, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew, like I said, a front to a back and a front to a back. This, it doesn't matter which way they go together, as in which one is the right side, but we wanna have two mirrored copies of the legs, because otherwise you'll end up with two right legs or two left legs, okay? So here is, I've got mine laid out so that this is my front piece, this is my back piece, and I can tell because of that crotch seam, okay? So I want it to go the same way over here, just mirrored. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, is that we want it front to back, front to back. They want to be mirrored, because if they're exactly the same, like I said, you're going to end up with two left legs. Because this is a, it doesn't matter which side we're looking at, it's the same because it's dyed, it's not a printed fabric. I can't really tell which is the right side and the wrong side of the fabric, so it can be easy to mess that up. So be careful when you're doing it. This is another, don't make the same mistake as me. So it's definitely happened that I've done that, so be careful with that. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pin together the inside leg seam and the outside leg seam. All right, I'm going to match up my bottom edge, because that's the one I want to make sure that those are going to match when I come back around. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here, and this is going to go just past that, because basically that's going to match up when we come back together. If they don't match when we sew this together, because it's going to kind of go like this, and these edges will end up matching over here. Okay, so you'll see it when I'm done that these are going to match up okay. They look a little bit funky when we're first pinning it, but basically what you want to do is that they're going to match up about 5/8 of an inch out there. Okay, so I'm going to get that, do that, and if they don't match, it's fine, don't worry about it. So we're just making some PJs. If they are not perfect, it is okay. You'll notice the pinning. If you weren't here the last couple of days, I'll clarify that real quick. So basically when I pin the embrace, I'm gonna pin in and out of it so that it holds the pins in there a little bit better. What I've noticed is if I just pin it through once, the pins tend to fall out. So I do that funky little pinning to keep my pins in check a little bit better. Okay, these sides should be just about the same length. They are. So I will pin that as well. Okay, and I'm gonna do that on both sides, and then I'm gonna sew them up the sides. So when we were working on the little top, we did it differently. So if you're just joining us today, the thing that I did differently was that I sewed these seams and then I serged seams together. So you can absolutely do that as well. If you do not have a serger, it is okay. What I would do is sew the seams and then I would actually just zigzag them together. So you could just do a whole zigzag around the entire outside of it, but I feel like actually if you sew it together and then zigzag the seams, it'll be a little bit nicer finish. You can also do French seams on these. You can use a rolled hem, all sorts of stuff. Okay, French seams is what I have done a lot of, but they take a lot of time, and so I kind of like the zigzag or the serge better. All right, so let's sew these together, and then we'll pin the other one and do that as well. So we're sewing it with a 70-10 universal needle. Okay, I don't have my walking foot on. You absolutely could use a walking foot, but I'm just using the regular foot today on my machine. And I've got it set at a 2.5 stitch length. If I need to, if it starts to gather a little bit, I can shrink that stitch, but I found that 2.5 works pretty well. And I'm just gonna just do a little straight stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna back stitch just a little so I can catch that and then go forward. I'm just gonna keep this basically kind of taut as I come through here so that it will sew pretty straight. You'll notice that sometimes the gauze will like to move around and shift and all that stuff, and it's totally fine. You just move it back to where you need it to be. and keep on going. It's very flexible, easygoing fabric. So don't let it take control. Okay. And I found that if you serge the edges, it's actually like, it's a nice edge to follow. All right. I'm gonna do a little back stitch there. Cut my thread, and then I'll come around and do the other seam. So then I have this other little shorty seam that I'm gonna do as well. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. Start in a little bit, do a little back stitch, and then go down that inside leg. Super duper easy. This pattern is great too because you can use it. You could use it with prints, you could use it with solids. Super easy to work with this fabric as well as any others. And the pattern comes from, I think, extra small to extra large. So there's a little bit of flexibility in the pattern for who could use it. So make sure you trace it so everybody gets to use it. Oh, I forgot to change my bobbin. Oh, I wound a bobbin and then I forgot to put it in there. It's working with gray. Let me change that. Okay, I really do want to have navy in there. The rest of it will be right. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go over and get my pins. All right, so now I've got those sewn. Okay, I can see, oopsie, I've got the gray on that side. So now I'm gonna pin this one. Okay. Okay. I will pin this the same way. That little kind of in and out pinning. We gotta come up with a name for that. I don't know what it is. Like double pinning is what I want to call it, but that's not what it is because that's what we do with cuddle. We'll think about it. Figure out a name.
New contest.
New contest, exactly. What do we call Teresa's weird pinning this time? Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing here. Make sure it matches end to end. Okay, we can get things to fit in between by giving them a little tug, but we wanna make sure that it's pretty darn close when we start going. Okay, and mostly on those, because this hem is gonna have to be turned up by itself, like in and of itself, so we wanna make sure it matches, okay? Some of the places you'll notice that I didn't pin so much, and some places I pin a little bit more. It kind of just depends on how I feel and if I'm struggling with it at all. Okay, pin here. Okay, if you've shown up and you missed my beginning part, make sure that you leave your city and state. Okay, you want to know where you're from? Tell me your favorite quilt shop too. I always like that. Okay, so now we're gonna sew this guy up. All right, so same idea, one more time. Just gonna do a little back stitch, except this time the thread will match on both sides. Okay, so this one I can see that these got a little bit off. I'm just gonna shimmy them over so that they match just a little bit better. Not super duper important, but just trying to keep it as even as possible. Today we're working on the crescendo from Baby Lock, which I like a lot. And the serger we were using was also from Baby Lock. It's a not a Pathfinder. That's the embroidery machine. Triumph. That's what it is. Okay. All right. All right. Now I'll do the inner leg seam. I started too close. No. Okay. All right. Oops. You know what I did do though? Look at, I didn't start it close enough over, so I have to work my way over. I didn't even think about it. Sorry. Looking at other things. It's okay though. There's lots of flexibility in these PJs, right? Okay. I'm come up here, back stitch, take it off, cut my thread. Okay. All right. So now we have two legs. So basically, if I put these back down, they'll be little mirrors of each other. Okay, so right leg, left leg. So now what we have to do is sew that crotch together. So the easiest way to do that, we need to sew them right sides together, right? So I'm gonna have to turn one right side and stick it inside the other one. that's what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn this one. And if you wanted to, you could go press these. I'm just gonna finger press them open. No big deal, but you could go press them if you wanted to, okay? Or I have that cute little roller too. Let me switch over there and grab it. So this is my little roller that you can use to press seams with. Hurry up. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this inside out, right side out. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick this inside. So when you're doing pants, this gets a little bit crazy because they're so long and like big and it seems really weird, but it actually works super well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this, okay? So now my seams will match here and above, and the big long, those crotch seams. Right. So I'm gonna get these right sides together. And this comes down and these match, okay? And then this comes and this matches. If you get to the point where you are here and your center, like these leg seams here, these inner leg seams don't match, it means that something got sewn backwards, okay? So if you've sewn it and you're accidentally putting the front to the back and the back to the front, stop, make sure you check it here. It's not someplace that you can feed it in right and make it work. So make sure that you've checked that, double check that the lengths are right, okay? I've seen it happen a couple of times in classes, so you know, just a little warning that can happen, especially if you're working with a fabric that is just dyed and not actually printed, because it's so easy to lose track of which one is your right side and your wrong side. Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to do the same thing again, and I'm going to pin all along these edges. Okay, so once we've done this, we're gonna just wash these and they'll be super soft and yummy. We talked about it a little bit in the first video, is that you can wash this in cool, or you can wash it in warm and then dry it. And then just don't dry it on super hot, but you can dry it just, you know, low heat, medium heat. The longer you dry it, the more it will crinkle. And this one is especially true because our solids will crinkle more than the prints. So what I like to do is I take things out before they're completely dry, or I just hang them to dry. But it's something to keep in mind that if you don't want them super crinkly, take them out before they are totally dry. If they get super crinkly and you don't like it, just go iron them. Totally works. Okay. Get these all matched up. Come along these curves. I'm gonna pin a couple more times in the curves so that I'm not gonna fight that to stay together. Okay, so the straight edges will stay together a lot easier than these curved ones. So I'm gonna put a couple more pins, closer pins, I guess is what I mean. Okay. There we go. All right, so now we've got that whole thing pinned up. Now we're gonna go sew it. Okay, same idea. 5/8 inch. Start it in a little bit. And then we'll back stitch. And then go forward. Okay, so you're just gonna, you could do this with the free arm if you wanted to. I think it's totally fine to do it this way, but it will have a nice big curve in it, so when we get there, we'll kind of keep that in check. All right. Okay, so here comes the curvy part. So what I want to do is let that curve kind of feed in and not try to straighten it too much until it gets up to the needle. And then I'm going to try to straighten it just as it's coming, make sure that it's parallel to the needle. Okay, I could feel some bulk in there, and I want to make sure I'm just getting the right bulk, which is all of those seams, and not like a big pucker in there. Okay. So as I'm coming around here, I can see that this wants to do funky things, and so I'm trying to keep it from going too far without me, basically. Is that I'm just keeping a finger on it to make sure where the bulk is, because it actually wants to curve out this direction. That's the way the pants go. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on it. Okay. So it comes through here. taken out from there. All right, we're just gonna sew up this edge. If you are doing this without serging it, one of the things that I have done, and you could do this even though you've serged it, is because this is one of those seams that gets a lot of stress in wear. And so if you want to, you could absolutely do a double row of stitching on here, or even just around the very bottom U part of the crotch. You could do a second row of stitching, like a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch away, to give it a little bit more strength in that seam, okay? All right, so now got our legs. We're gonna pull them right side out, and now we have a humongous pair of shorts. So this is what I was telling you, is when you get to this size and you're like, these are the small. These are the small, okay? Because they're PJ pants, they're super comfy, easy to wear, and they want to make sure that the hips have lots and lots of room in them, and then we're going to take the waist down in an elastic band, okay? So let's do that. All right, so what we're going to do with the elastic, this one, oh, I got that a little uneven, darn it. The elastic that she calls for in the pattern is a 2-inch elastic. I couldn't find any 2-inch elastic. I had some black, but I was trying to use it with white fabric, and so I found the white from her. I could probably use the black in this and be just fine. But I did find the 1.5 worked out just as well. I just folded it under a little bit more. So that's what we're gonna do today. It says to fold it down 2 3/4 inches. So I'm gonna get my ruler. Okay, and what's it? Oh, I'm gonna hold this. Will you go grab the fabric folding pen for me? Okay. We're gonna do this together. So I'm gonna use this fabric folding pen. We used it yesterday in the video to do our hems, and so that's what we're gonna do here as well. I'm gonna show you how that works. So this is the fabric folding pen from Clover, and it was originally used for doing paper piecing, because it will help fold the fabric over really easily. It comes with this little pen and this little fluid. All right, and then these go together. You put a few drops of this in there, you fill it up with water. The thing I will tell you is to make sure that when you use this is to dump this water out when you're done with it, because it will mildew that little tip if you leave it in there. And they tell you that in the instructions, is to dump it out every time. But if you're anything like me, sometimes you don't really follow the instructions and you think, I know better than that. I want to save it, it'll be fine. And it won't be fine. So please make sure you dump that out, okay? Word to the wise. And there's plenty of liquid in here, and you can actually buy replacements for that. But honestly, I think it's like 4 drops that you use, so it's really nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, where I'm going to mark my edge here. Okay, you can probably just barely see it through there, but here's 2 3/4 on my ruler. I can see it. I'm gonna just shimmy things just a little bit so it's right along that edge. And then I'm gonna take my little fabric folding pen here, make sure it's got some liquid in it. Yep. Okay. I'm just going to draw it right along here. Okay. So you can see where it marked it, basically. Okay. And what that does is it's going to fold over there nicely. Yep. Okay. Okay, so what that does is it gives it just a little spot to fold over. Okay, I'm going to pin this, and we're just going to work our way around that, making sure that it's folded in the right place. Okay, right. So you could actually do this before you sew the pants together if you want to. I've done it both ways, where I've pressed it, like folded it down, pressed it, made sure it's in the right spot, and then sewn it, and that works too. Okay, so either way. Okay, just try to shimmy this a little bit so it's basically where I need it to be, and then I'll do the same thing. Okay, and then I can use that to fold it over right along that line. Okay. Works much easier than trying to eyeball it, in my opinion. Okay, so I use that pen actually quite a bit for hems. It is definitely not necessary. You could absolutely go along here and mark your edge with, you know, your water-soluble marker. but this works too. So some of us have this tool in our stash and we didn't know what it was for. Raise your hand if you were that person. And I found this worked out. This worked really well. And I can't even remember who showed it. It might be another Gail trick. I have to ask her if she's the one who sews a lot with our stuff, and she always has these really great suggestions. Okay, so I have a little spot there where I went down. I didn't quite get them to match up, so I'm going to get it to match here and then come over to match over here. Okay, so I want my fold line to be straight. My top edge is not going to be perfectly straight, and that's okay. Okay, I got my mark. I'm going to fold it right over. Okay, again, that's the fabric folding pen is what that is. You know, a pretty self-descriptive, is that what it is? Is that the right phrase? What's the? Self-explanatory, thank you. Self-explanatory name, but also if you don't know what it is, that doesn't make any sense. So you can see the difference from where I've used the pen to get a nice crisp edge and where I've just sort of folded it over, that this won't be as crisp as this will with the folding pen. Okay, it's also not accurate because I haven't measured it yet. Okay, let's see if I can get that open enough. Okay, it's a great little tool though. That's one that is, yeah, I don't get to use too often when I'm doing classes, but I thought I'd share with you guys because I do use it at home quite a bit. Oh, there we go. Get a little bit more there. All right, so let me flip that up. Get that on nice and even. Cut that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that these guys are flat. Okay, so one of the things that you can do when you're doing elastic, if you are struggling at all, when we do the elastic, we're going to put this through. If you're struggling at all with the elastic, what you can do is you can baste these down right along these edges, and then when you insert the elastic, it won't catch on these ever. Okay, so sometimes people really struggle with that part. You can baste these down on each of those seams, and then when you're done, you can take the basting out and after you've put the elastic through. Okay, so if you struggle with that, that's a neat little technique that I used to use quite a lot. Okay, so now we've got this folded down. We can do two things. Because we've serged it, we don't have to finish this more, but I'm actually going to fold it under again. It's folded it right now at 2 3/4, and my elastic is 1 3/4. I want a little bit of an edge to it, so I need to fold down maybe another inch. Okay, so what I'm going to do, now look at it. Okay, it's not at any, I was hoping maybe I would be along one of these lines that I could, it's like right here, I can see it's about an inch. If I folded it on this line, it would be 2 inches away, but I don't have that everywhere. So I can't use that little trick, unfortunately. I am going to measure it. Okay, so we're going to measure it at 2 inches for this one because my elastic is 1 3/4, or 1 1/2. Okay, so if my elastic were the 2 3/4 like it's supposed to, or 2 inches, 2 inches like it's supposed to be, and my rollover is 2 3/4, that would make sense. But if my elastic is 1 1/2, the 2 3/4 is just too big. Okay, so if I had the right size elastic, I would just do a tiny little 1/4 inch. But this is going to be a little bit more. Okay, look at how well it sticks. I love it. So I'm going to pin this a little bit more. Then when we're done, we're going to come back around, stitch that in place, and put our elastic in. Okay, so easy peasy. Also, I hope you guys can see it with the blue one. Mm-hmm. Look okay? All right. Sometimes it's hard because I can see things just fine, and sometimes I can't tell how well you guys can see it.
That ruler is very shiny.
Is it really shiny? Does it reflect all of it? Sorry. There are definitely, yeah, things that you guys can see that I can't see so much in the studio. It's very true. Like the shine. To me, it has 0 shine. And there it has all the shine. So sorry. Thanks for being patient, guys. I really appreciate it when Yeah. You, one, alert us to things, and also you put up with our our technological issues when we're trying to figure stuff out. So what if I do it this way? How about that?
Yeah.
That's better? That's not so shiny?
100%.
Oh, good. Okay. This is a quilter select ruler is what this is, and it has the grippy stuff on the back already. Well, it's not grippy because grippy is a brand name, but it is like grip-tastic. Okay, and so that's what that's why it's not reflecting anymore. Okay, so I love this. You see how it just so easily folds down? It's like just bam, bam. It's there. Okay, I didn't need to get my iron at all. Totally simple. Okay. Trying to get this laid out so you can see it though. All right. Look at that, I remembered to lay it the right way. Great. I feel very proud of myself when I remember these things. All right, I'm gonna fold this under. Okay, I'm gonna get this all folded down nice and neat, and then we can sew it. So one of the things that I have found, and this may have happened to you, is when you're sewing it, I had my little labels. You see any little labels hanging around? Shoot, I brought over a whole stack of them the other day. Is that when you are sewing them, it's hard to tell which one is the front and which one is the back. So I need to find something that's like a little piece of fabric. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I had my little tags here and then they left me. Oh well, okay. See if I can find something here that I can attach. There's some, oh, of course, no scraps of fabric. Oh, here, let's just use this. Fine. So what I like to do is actually use my labels, which is why I have them made, but they seem to have disappeared and they're on the other side of the table right now, so I'm not going to get them. Okay, I have a little blip in my scissors. Okay, so what I do is I take something, usually my label, and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to put this in the back of it. Here. See, if I look around, you can see how much. See if we can. If you look inside there, you can see the back seam is over on this side, and the front seam is over here. I could see that it's a bigger seam in the back. Okay, that's what that is. So I can see that this crotch seam is larger in the back. Okay, so what I want to do is put a little tag in here. So that's what I'm going to use here instead of my actual tags. I'm going to put this guy in here. So that way when you're putting your little pajama pants on, you know which one is the front and back without putting them on, realizing it's the wrong one, and flipping it around. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's done that. Okay, so put a little tag. You can use, if you don't have tags made, you can use just a piece of embrace. I wouldn't recommend it. You can also use just like a little piece of ribbon, which is really nice. If you've bought like cute little ribbons and stuff, you can totally use those back there, or you can make your own little, like with a bias strip, and then cut that and just do a little strip back there, just a little loop, basically just to mark the back of it, okay? So it's a great way of doing that. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I need to leave a space on here where I'm gonna leave my gap to feed my elastic through. I need to leave it a couple of inches, so I'm gonna do the thing that I always do, where I put a couple of pins, and those are gonna be my start and stop points. Okay, if you've been with us before and you've seen me do this sort of thing, we're actually not doing the L's this time because it's a different technique that we're doing. All right, so let me grab my pins from here. It is warm in here today, guys. So if it's not just the ruler that's shining, you know why. Okay, so this is my starting point. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this just like I did the top stitching for the shirt. And I'm going to put this right along the edge of the clear part of my foot. Okay, so I'm going to look where my needle comes down. I want my needle to tick over a little. I'm going to see if I can get it to move. Oh, it doesn't want to move again. There we go. Mm-hmm. Okay. I just had to finagle it just a little. All right, that one I feel like is pretty good. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to do a little back stitch because I want that to be secure, and it's going to get a little bit of tuggy when I put that elastic through. Okay, and then I'm basically just going to watch this edge and run it by the clear side of my foot. Okay, so I can top stitch this
all the way around to create the little elastic casing. Oop. That could be trouble. Don't do it. Okay. There we go. All right, I'm gonna move this around. If you wanted to, you could flip this inside out and do it around the free arm of your machine, but I feel like it's a big enough circle that I can work it up here just fine. Okay, you can see I want to give it a little bit of a tug, make sure that it's matching up evenly. Okay, but you can see how nice that folded edge is. Okay, so if you do not have that little fabric folding pin, you can also use your best press to do that little fold down, and it will help keep that edge nice and sharp as well. Okay, and we're just going to sew all along here. So this is when I'm glad I changed my bobbin thread, so it'll hide nicely in there. If I hadn't changed my bobbin thread, I'd have gray top stitching around the outside, which will hide in the elastic, but if we can hide our stitches for this part, I'm happy to do so. Okay, so when I go over these seams, I'm going to press them so that they're open. Okay, if you wanted to press them to a side, especially if you've serged them together, you can absolutely do that, no big deal. Okay, if you do that, one of the things that I suggest that you do is that you press it to the same direction all the way around, so that when you feed the elastic in, it'll just slide over that. Weird little trick, but sometimes I feel like half the battle of sewing is figuring out what you need to do before you actually start doing it. And sometimes that is, you know, pre-planning that pressing direction. Okay. All right. Come around here. I'm almost back to my start. Okay, where I have my double pins. Okay, I'm going to sew up. I'm going to sew back. Then I'm going to cut my thread again. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, before I go anywhere, what I want to do is I want to move my pins because they're in my way. Okay, and then I'm going to actually flip this, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to top stitch it from this edge. Okay. So what I want to do is add just a little edge stitch right up here. Okay, what I found is if I don't do that, if I don't do a little stitch right around the top, it makes the elastic not fit as nicely. All right, and I'm not sure exactly what the physics of that are, but I will tell you that having this little stitch around the top will make a big difference in how the elastic lays, or it has for me at least. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then that gives a nicer casing for the elastic to ride in. Okay, see if we can get this to spin around here. All right. And this one doesn't have to be super neat. I would do it really small. So this is maybe about 1/8 of an inch or so. Yeah, it's about 1/8 of an inch top stitch here. Okay, so you can see the edge here. It's about 1/8 of an inch, I think. That's enough. If you do it like 1/4 of an inch, it ends up looking like the top of your curtains, which isn't really the look I want to go for with my shorts. So, but you know, personal preference. But it's a great way to take up space too if your elastic isn't the right size. So if you couldn't get 1.5 inch elastic, the other thing that you could do too is make 2 channels and then use 1/2 inch elastic in each. Okay, so sometimes we have to get a little creative in these times when not as many shops are available, and not all materials are as easily available. So if you can get 1/2 inch elastic, you can absolutely use that. Okay. Should be coming around here soon. I feel like this, you know, waistband is, yeah, 50 inches or so. No, just kidding. It's a big one though, but yeah, seriously, people try to forget about the size of them. It's funny, I have a picture from one of my classes when I was in Utah and we made pajama pants, and everybody was just totally like, oh, I don't know if I want to keep them, they look huge. It was very funny, but if you look at your PJ pants already, they're already big. Okay, all right, we're gonna cut the thread and then we'll move over here. Okay. So now we've got our whole casing in. So now I've got the little spot here. This is where my elastic is going to come through. Oh, there. Whew, didn't get too far. All right, so this is a size small, so I'm making it for someone who has a 27-inch waist, so that's what size I'm going to cut it. In this pattern, it tells you to cut it the size of your waist plus 1 inch and then overlap it an inch, and I'm going to cut it the size of the waist and overlap it less than 1/2 inch, okay? So basically what you want to do is make sure that your elastic, some of them have more stretch than others. You want to make sure that it's going to get whatever your waist that you cut it will stretch to whatever size your hip is. Okay, so if you have a waist hip ratio that's broad, you want to make sure that this has a lot of stretch so it'll go over your hips. Okay, because you want it to be able to get down. And some of them have less stretch than others. That's my thing, is I've definitely made that mistake where I've just cut it the size of the pattern and then the elastic didn't have as much stretch as I thought it would, and then I was in trouble. Okay, so if I cut this to 26, I can stretch it up to 36, okay, which is probably pretty comparable. Okay, so that's where I'm going to look at that and that's the important number for me, is that I could stretch it up to there. Most people have, you know, between 5 and 10 inches difference. Okay, so make sure you know your measurements and don't freak out about them. They're just numbers. Okay. Oh, speaking of just numbers, I have a birthday next week that's just a number. We'll talk about it in a bit, but yeah, we're just going to remind me too, it's just a number. Okay. Maybe we can start people guessing. Just kidding. Do not try to guess my age. Hate that game. Okay. Got my elastic. I've got a little safety pin on here. You can use a bigger one. I had a bigger one and then I lost that too. I might actually have to find it. Remember how you just gave it to me, Hawk?
Studio eats material.
It really does. Well, I think partly because it's like metal. Oh, there it was. Okay. So then I have like all these magnets too. They're like, we'll take that. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to try this again. I'm going to stick this through here. Okay. All right, that's better. So really I just wanted one that I can grab onto a little bit better. So I'm going to feed this through here. And we're just going to get that working through. Okay, so if I push this up, then I can pull the elastic down through it. Okay, and there is a whole wide variety of elastics out there, so find your favorite. All right, this is a non-roll, I think is what it was. So woven non-roll, and so what happens is some of them have the ribbing down this direction, and then they will actually roll inside the PJ pants. If you've ever had that happen, that's not fun. I'm trying to get this past my little seams in there. See, I should have done what I told you guys. I've done the little, oh, that elastic's hard. Let's see if we can get that past there. Stitch down my seams. You can see it wants to hold up on that. You can probably see it like, oh, you know this frustration, don't you, ladies? Mm-hmm. Anybody who's fed elastic through is like, yeah, I've been there, done that. Not my favorite task. The thing you could do here is you could actually do a casing if you wanted to. You would just put buttonholes on the outside, and then be able to feed a casing or drawstring through it. Okay, that'd be super easy to do. So if you do that, if you want to do a drawstring, what you're going to do is put buttonholes on the front and then reinforce those buttonholes, like with interfacing. We talked about that the other day. That'll help those buttonholes hold up. Okay. Do a little more. Okay. Sorry, boring. Do 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 do. If I could sing, I would totally sing for you guys, but that's not really my. I can sew. I can sew well. I cannot sing. I used to play violin. See? Hawk can whistle. Can whistle the happy birthday song. We're going to have to find music for next week. Oh, should I just tell him about next week?
I think you might.
Oh, I could do that because this is, you could just watch me do this all day. So next week, literally on Sew Together Tuesday, it's my birthday, and it's a big one. And I'm surprised to be doing it in Los Angeles on quarantine, but I'll be turning 50 next Tuesday. So we are going to do a big to-do. So if you are still here today on our third day of Sew Together Tuesday, on Sew Together Thursday, you have the inside scoop, and that you need to show up because we are going to have some big giveaways. We're doing lots of special things. We're going to make a special quilt with Cuddle. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. Lots of giveaways. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to celebrate my birthday with you. If I couldn't celebrate the way that I wanted to, which was going abroad, that's not really going to happen this year, then I'm super happy to be able to do it here with everybody and with my Shannon Fabrics family. So thanks for joining me here. Come next week and we'll have lots of giveaways. I'm kind of excited. I'm going to go back to Cuddle next week, and we're going to do some quilt making. Oh, I got a little caught up there. We're getting there. We're so close, guys. Look, there's the tail over there. So yeah, make sure that you come early, come often on Sew Together Tuesday. Not really, but come early. We're going to have some fun giveaways, and we'll talk about it at the beginning of next week's show. Oh, it's caught on something. Hold on. I can feel it's caught.
Struggle bus.
Yeah. I was trying to snap it, whatever it is in there. I can't get it to. See, this is when I need see-through fabric. What is it caught on? I don't know. Let's just yank it and see what happens, guys. See if I can do that. See, that's where it's caught, right there. You can see it pulling, which makes me think that might be, oh, you know what I bet it is? Serger thread. Serger thread, I bet that's what that is. Oh, it doesn't want to break either. What is it? It's got to be caught on my pin. But I'm trying to figure out how it got caught on my pin. Because then I could break it, but I don't really know what it's caught on. So we may just pull that until we can get it to a point that I can. Sheesh, you guys, that's not as much fun, is it? Oh, I think I got it loose. Look at that. Haha, it's moving. Yay! And the crowd goes wild. Phew, thank goodness. That was a moment. I was like, if I have to tear this apart now, we're in trouble. I don't have new shorts to make. Also, the next pair I'd make would just fit me. And I'd be like, I'm over making a small. You want to see large? I'll show you. All right. Get that to move along. Then I'm going to come right up here and back out that little hole. So when I come past these, what I'm trying to do is go in between them. Because it's a big enough hole, I can sort of open up the seam allowances and get in there. So this isn't one that I would probably struggle with the seam allowances, except for the serger thread. Too often, but like on a smaller casing, it's definitely someplace that can get you caught up. Okay, so one of the things that can happen when you're dealing with elastic is that it can get twisted. So we're going to bring this out, and it's going to be in the same direction that it was. If I can get it to come out here. It's probably caught again on serger thread. See, look. I knew it. I knew it. Okay, so lesson learned, clip your serger tails before you do this. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Lesson learned, okay. Okay, so one of the things that I need to check is that make sure that this is actually going the same. So if I hold these together, I need this elastic to stay upright, okay? And you can see that it's all staying in the same direction. That's important because what happens sometimes is this gets twisted and you don't realize it until you get over here. Magically, both sides look the same. You put them together, you put it inside, you do your cross stitching, and then you realize, oh, that. Okay, super frustrating. So I'm just going to pin these together. If I can get that. This is my super hard pin. Okay. Oh my goodness, come on. Okay, well, I cannot get those to pin together. How weird is that? Okay. I guess they're just, it's super stiff. It's non-roll. Oh, lesson learned. Learned on all sorts of stuff, you guys. Okay. So I'm going to push this down so I can get more of this in here. What I'm trying to do is get these sewn together. So I'm going to stick this under here. I'm using the blue thread still. I'm not going to switch it because I don't really care. If you were using white with white things, you would want to make sure that you were using white thread. With this, it's totally fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch down this edge back and around and in a little box. Okay, you can also zigzag this. What I've found is that if I do this sort of little box thing, it seems to wear a little bit better, and I've had some issues with elastic popping inside whatever I was working on before, which is frustrating because then you got to open up that hole that you sewed shut. Okay, so we want to just get this as nice and strong as possible. If you want to go back and forth at the zigzag a few times, that would work too. Okay. That was probably one of the crookedest lines I've ever sewn. That was pretty crazy. Okay, now we'll take that out. All right, oops, sorry. Okay, now, sorry, my feet are all caught up and doing a little dance down there. I can pull this back in. Okay. Then you're just going to get that nice and even spaced around your pants. Okay, so that the waistband is, ta-da! Okay, so now we've got this little spot here that is open. So before I get it too moved around, I'm going to go back in here and sew this little spot down. I will tell you, I have been known to sew my elastic down at that point. You don't want to do that. So we're going to sew this in place, and then we can manipulate the entire waistband to get it nice and even. Okay. So I'm going to come over here. I want to overlap where I was stitching a little bit before. Stitch along this edge, just catching that edge. You can see probably that it wants to shove over a little bit because the elastic is in there, and it doesn't really want to ride right along the elastic, but it won't matter if this isn't very nice looking because it's going to hide in all of those little pleats that you've got. Yeah. Okay, so now we can actually just manipulate this over so that it's a little bit more even and evenly spaced around the waistband. Okay. Put it over. There we go. That's better. All right. So, whoops. Now it sort of looks like a pair of shorts. Ta-da! Okay, so we've got one more thing to do. We've got to hem, well, I guess two. We got to hem the legs, okay? So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did before, and we're just going to press this up and stitch it down, okay? So I'm actually going to just finger press it because I can feel that it wants to press up. There's like a little line there that it's working really nicely. So I'm just going to finger press this and stitch it down. If you wanted to do some fancy stitches on this, this would be a time that you could absolutely do that. I just want them hemmed up and wearable. Okay, super duper easy. This is another thing, if you have a cover stitch, this part can be done on the cover stitch as well. Okay. Cover stitch machines are awesome. So a lot of people, they tell me like, oh, Embrace is really hard to work with, isn't it? And you can see I'm really struggling here, guys. This is terrible. Yeah. It's really not too difficult. I think probably the biggest issue for people is that it's a different substrate. So like we were talking about before, people aren't always sure what you could do with it. They think that it's really just for swaddles or just for little blankets. And while it makes beautiful little blankets, it definitely can be used for all sorts of things, including apparel, which, like I said, I really like. So I'm going to do a little extra pinning, make sure that seam allowance stays down there where it comes up. Okay, we'll pin the other one and then whip those out. Okay, so we'll be back, like I said, next week. I'm excited. It's not very often you get to turn 50. I mean, I think probably just once, right? Just once you turn 50.
Well, maybe after this.
Maybe after this. I didn't turn 29 more than once, but maybe I'll just be 50. I was talking with somebody online, and we were joking, because there's a whole crew of us who, that I know, who all turned 50 this year. And none of us got to do the big 50 that we wanted to do. And so we were joking about, like, we're just going to put all of it off until next year, and then we're actually just 49 for another year. So I could do that, but since we're kind of celebrating here at So Together Tuesday, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go with it, but then maybe 2021 I'll stick with 50 for one more year. Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. We're going to do something fun, so it'll be good. And then like I said, we're going to get back to some cuddle. Okay. If you want to learn how to work with the embrace more, we'll probably do another blanket. I did want to let you know that we have the YouTube channel, so if you haven't subscribed to that, make sure that you do, because you will get notice whenever we do new videos. But we have done, I think, a couple on embrace projects. My favorite embrace project to teach people is the infinity scarf. So if you have bought fabric for this project, you'll have scraps left over, and you can totally use it for that little scarf. It's the easiest little project, and that I know there's actually a couple of YouTube videos with me showing you how to do that. Okay, so now we're going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and take the whatever that's called. I want to call it the arm, but this is the arm. We're going to take that off, and I'm going to slip this over here. So I'm going to do it. I have to turn this inside out. Hold on. I want to do it so that the leg is the other direction, so I can sew from the inside. Mostly so I can see that it catches. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Let's do it over here and make sure that it catches. All right. So let's see. I'm going to run it. Yeah, let's do it at the 5/8. Okay. You could absolutely do 2 rows of stitching on here if you wanted to, or use a double needle. If you use a double needle, you'll want to stitch from the other side, obviously, so that your zigzag shows up on this side and your double stitches are on the other. But you could do any sort of little decorative stitching that you wanted to on here to make it extra cute. Okay. It's a good place to practice all that stuff, since you're just going to wear them to bed. Unless you're making them for your mom, because Mother's Day is coming up. And yeah, so you could make PJs for your mama, and that would be fun too. Or because you're a mom, make your own. Make your own PJs, lay in bed all day. Chill out. Have somebody make you breakfast. Hey, I'm going to come right around here. But super casual, and you could probably make these out of like a black embrace too, and wear them as real pants, I bet. I might try, since I always wear black pants for here. We'll see.
Contribute to your mythology of being a ninja.
That's right. After my ninja moves last time. Escaping the cords. Yeah. All right, so we're going to come back around here. I'm going to do a little back stitch. Take the thread out. Ta-da. There's our little stitching. Okay, so if I wanted to make that look nicer, or what I feel like looks nicer, then I would probably do another row of stitches just to give it a little oomph. You could also do a little zigzag, but this will totally 100% hold and be totally fine. Okay. Come around the other side. We'll do the other leg, and then we'll have some PJs. I'm excited. Who's going to sleep well tonight? Me. Oh wait, these aren't for me. Darn it. Okay, I'm totally making some PJs for me this week. I made the one I showed you guys on Tuesday that had the crosshatch and the dinosaur. I made that. It fits me. Fit just fine, but it was the only fabric I had, which was pretty funny because it's not really fabric I would otherwise choose, is little dinos, but it's pretty cute. Pretty cute. I'm sewing a little fast there. Okay. So we have all sorts of them. Check out numerous stores too. You can see what Embrace fabrics are available to stores by going to our website, but our website is only, you can only purchase from the website if you are a wholesaler. So the website is a great place to check out and see what we've got, get some inspiration on things, and then tell your local quilt shop that that's the one you want. And let them know that you want the fabric, because a lot of times quilt shops don't actually know, but it's a great way to see what's available. And then if you really like one, you can actually just do a Google search and find out which shops are carrying it. Okay. I know we've had a lot of questions about where do I find it and can I buy it from your website. So those are two things. It looks like I'm going to have a little bit of a pucker right here, and I'm going to show you what I do with that, which is nothing. I sew it in. Okay. Mostly because these are super cash little shorts that it doesn't really matter. I would have pinned it a lot better if I cared that much. Look at that. It totally went away. That's awesome. Okay. I just sewed it. You can see that it's a little bit extra right here, but I just kind of gave it a tug. It fit in. This is why I will often start when I'm sewing hems. I will often start at the inside. This is the inside leg seam here. Is that if I have a little goober, it ends up at the inside leg and not on the outside or on the front. Also, this is what I've learned from mistakes I've made, because I have definitely messed things up so that the mistake was a glaring, obvious mistake right in the front of whatever it was I was wearing. All right, so here we go. Here is our little shorts. Give them a good shake. Get that little, get the leg to come out if I can. Come on, little guy. There we go. All right, so there's our little shorts. Come on over. Take a look at them. Super duper cute. Okay, so here's the shorts we've got. Here's the little top. It's going to go with it. Give it a little shake too. Get off all those little bits of dust. Oh, look how cute that's going to be. Okay, super duper cute and easy pattern. Go Junction Slumber Party PJs. Okay, you can find it at quilt shops everywhere. Oh, we got a little shine on that too. Sorry guys. It's the Slumber Party PJs. Super cute, easy to do. If you missed the other videos, go back and check it on either Facebook or on YouTube. You can see how to make the shirt completely, a bunch of information on working with the Embrace fabric. Okay, it's super great fabric to work with. Like I said, when you're done with this, I would just wash it, dry it, and then wear it to bed. You'll sleep well, I promise. All right, so good. We did it, guys. We did it.
Giveaway.
Oh, we have another giveaway. Ellen's gonna have to post the name up there. She'll yeah, Ellen, who's winning? Let us know. We'll reach out to you, or you can reach out to us. Let us know where you live. After Ellen will announce the winner. We're also, so don't forget to go to our blog, because we also have the newsletter you can sign up with. We're doing a special giveaway this month. We are teaming up with Indygo, Junction, and Dritz, and OmniGrid Rulers. Is that the right name? Oh, I hope so. And we're giving away a bunch of stuff, so including 5 yards of Embrace double gauze. So you could be a lucky winner and win twice, but you could also win that huge thing, which will also get other gifts from Indygo, Junction, Dritz, and OmniGrid. So super exciting. I'm so glad that you joined us. Thank you again for coming to Sew Together Tuesday. We'll be back next week for my birthday, and we'll be doing lots of giveaways for that. It'll be a really special event. So thank you for coming. I will see you next Tuesday. Until then, happy sewing. Bye.